It was 100 years ago on November 4th, 1922, that British archaeologist Howard Carter and an Egyptian team discovered an ancient stairway hidden for more than 3,000 years beneath the sands of Egypt's Valley of the Kings. 22 days later, Carter descended those stairs, lit a candle, poked it through a hole in a blocked doorway, and waited as his eyes grew accustomed to the dim light. A century later, the discovery of King Tut's tomb, which contained more than 5,000 priceless artifacts, remains the greatest archaeological find of all time. Here are 7 fascinating artifacts recovered from King Tut's tomb, from the biggest finds to some hidden treasures. Number 1. Gold sandals. In one of the crowded antechambers, Carter found a painted wooden chest that he described as one of the greatest artistic treasures of the tomb. We found it hard to tear ourselves away from it. Inside were sequin-lined linens, an alabaster headrest, and a very special pair of sandals. These were King Tut's golden court sandals, ornately decorated footwear that he's seen wearing in some of the statuettes found in the tomb. Made from wood and overlaid with bark, leather, and gold, the eye-catching parts are the soles of the sandals, which depict the 9 traditional enemies of Egypt. That wasn't an accident. Number 2. An iron dagger. On the surface, this iron-bladed dagger doesn't look like a spectacular find, but King Tut died several centuries before the start of the Iron Age, when advances in technology allowed for the forging of iron and steel from mineral deposits. During King Tut's time, the few iron objects on record were made from metals that literally fell from the heavens in the form of meteorites. A solid gold dagger with an ornately decorated sheath was also found in the folds of King Tut's mummy, placed ceremoniously on his right thigh. Number 3. A game of chance and fate. Egyptians played board games, and one of King Tut's favorites, judging from the fact that there were 4 sets in his tomb, was a game called Senet. Historians don't agree on the exact rules of the checkers-like game, but it involved moving your game piece through a series of 30 squares by throwing knucklebones or casting sticks. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, which details the journey of the soul through the afterlife, says that playing Senet is a popular pastime for the deceased. Eternal life may even have been at stake. Number 4. King Tut's lost daughters. One of the reasons why King Tut fell through the cracks of Egyptian history was that his reign was so short and he didn't leave behind any heirs or offspring. But thanks to Carter's discovery, we know that King Tut's wife, Ankhesenamun, whom he married at age 12, bore 2 stillborn daughters who were buried in their father's tomb. Inside an unmarked box, Carter's team found 2 tiny wooden coffins, each bearing a gilded inner coffin that contained the mummified remains of King Tut's daughters. The fetuses appeared to be 25 and 37 weeks old and died from unknown causes. Archaeologists also found a lock of King Tut's grandmother's hair in the tomb, which may have been a family keepsake. Number 5. A scarf with a surprise. Inside a small wooden chest made from ebony and cedar, Carter and his team found a gold-plated leopard head and a gorgeous pair of ceremonial objects known as the pharaoh's crook and flail, always depicted as held across his chest. But alongside these priceless items was something conspicuously commonplace, a knotted-up linen scarf. When the archaeologist untangled the scarf, they found several gold rings inside. But how did they get in there? From other clues, it became clear to Carter that King Tut's tomb hadn't remained completely untouched. Thieves must have broken in soon after the tomb was sealed and made off with the smallest and most valuable items they could carry, like gold jewelry. The scarf packed with gold rings was evidence that the thieves may have even been caught in the act or scared off by guards and left their loot behind. It was hastily packed into a box when the tomb was resealed, not to be opened for another 3,200 years. Number 6. A dazzling resting place for the king's organs. During the mummification process, Egyptian embalmers carefully removed the lungs, liver, intestines, and stomach from the body, embalmed the organs, and placed them in vessels called canopic jars. The final resting place for King Tut's organs was one of the most exquisite objects in the entire tomb. Carter found Tut's canopic jars stored inside an alabaster chest, itself housed within a magnificent wooden funerary shrine covered in gold leaf. Facing the doorway stood the most beautiful monument that I have ever seen, wrote Carter, so lovely that it made one gasp with wonder and admiration. What really struck Carter when he saw the golden shrine in person were the 4 Egyptian goddesses of death guarding the young pharaoh's embalmed organs on all sides. The goddesses Isis, Nephthys, Neith, and Selkut are depicted in naturalistic poses with form-fitting dresses that inspired flapper fashion in the 1920s. Number 7. The iconic golden mask. For Carter, the greatest prize among the 5,000 objects in the tomb was the mummy of King Tut himself. But to get to the mummy, Carter and his team had to slowly and painstakingly work through a series of nesting shrines and coffins that were never meant to be opened by human hands. First, there were 4 box-like golden shrines, each slightly smaller than the last. Inside the last shrine was the heavy stone sarcophagus. Once the stone lid was removed, it revealed the first of 3 coffins. The first coffin, as well the second one nested inside of it, were wooden coffins overlaid with gold foil and designed to look like the god Osiris lying in repose. The third and final coffin was a jaw-dropper, a solid gold casket weighing 296 pounds, also depicting Osiris with the ceremonial crook and flail across his chest. With trembling hands, Carter opened the golden coffin and found himself face to face with the iconic funerary mask of Tutankhamun. The 22-pound solid gold mask rested directly on the head and shoulders of King Tut's mummy and portrayed the handsome young king as Osiris, complete with the pharaonic false beard. King Tut's mummy, when carefully removed and unwrapped, contained 143 different amulets, bracelets, necklaces, and other priceless artifacts among its ancient bandages. What was your favorite artifact from King Tut's tomb? Share your thoughts in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video and learned something new, make sure to subscribe for more. Goodbye, everyone.